I can't wear this mask any longer. I don't feel I'm getting stronger. Had it on so
Real Men, Real
long,
Talk.
don't
We're here with our honorary chair here in Louisville, Kentucky, Mr. Deion Branch, Super Bowl winning MVP, Deion Branch.
Let me shake your hand.
Oh, yeah, what's up?
Let me keep that.
It's good to be here, man. How you feel?
Yeah, man, feeling pretty good, man. Thank you all for having me, man.
Absolutely. We enjoy having these Real Men, Real Talk conversations on the Real Men, Real Talk podcast, particularly with our honorary chairs, because we really appreciate men across this country joining us in this space of not only just talking about Black men's wellness with our physical side of our wellness, but more importantly, our mental wellness too.
Yeah.
And so JG and I, we have a blast doing this. Cool. JG, how you feeling today?
I feel great because I've never really shook the hand of a Super Bowl MVP kind of person. So, I'm excited about that. I'm like, I ain't trying to be a groupie. But I do want to say this. 5,000 men we have screened. 85% of them had high blood pressure.
Wow.
And 56% of them did not even know they had high blood pressure. So when you join this cause with us, you're joining the cause to save Black men's lives. And we, as Black men, we have to take responsibility for our own destination. And what we discovered out of that is what is a cause for high blood pressure is mental wellness. And so you joining us today in this mental wellness conversation is another attempt for us to go save Black men who are walking around who really, they might not have high blood pressure if they address their mental wellness issues.
Exactly. And speaking of, so that would have been, had you tested me back in the days, I'd have been 5,001. Like what you were just speaking of, like me growing up as a young kid, super active, playing ball, just playing every sport. And one opportunity, my mom took me to the doctor that I got checked, and that's the first thing that popped up, and I just went in a frenzy. Like, 'cause I'm super scared and just knowing what actually happened, what's the effects of it. Didn't know that I cut out a lot of the things that they were saying that I was doing at that young age, but never knew it the whole time. Never knew it.
And
like, super high though.
See, the thing is, man, it's that silent killer. I found out 2 years ago at one of our wellness walks in Columbus, because I thought I was too cool to go ahead and sit down and get my numbers, thinking that I felt good.
Correct.
Former athlete, thinking that I'm in decent shape. So I'm lying to myself and not really being mature and being responsible. I sit down, I get my numbers checked. They tell me I got to go to the hospital. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They like, you are a walking stroke.
Yes, sir.
So I said, do I check it again?
Yeah.
I don't like the sound of that. But come to find out, I did have to go to my doctor the following week. And I am working on getting my blood pressure down. I had to get on a small dose of blood pressure medicine. But why do you think that we, as men, sometimes we just don't want to prioritize learning about what's going on inside of our bodies?
Nah, I think the biggest piece of what you hit on, and I think what we all actually fall victim to, is that, hey, I look good, I feel good, I'm walking around, I'm healthy, I'm active. And clearly that was my whole point for not, I'm not saying not getting checked, but that was one of the reasons I thought I was fine. The same is to you.
Yeah.
And we look at it nowadays, most of these young Black men now that are walking around super athletic, but at the same time are getting affected by the things outside of it. Like my personal issue was my salt intake. I was consuming too much salt.
Okay.
Just never thought about it. Just
You're
never
from down south.
Yeah.
So down south,
everything,
you're eating something.
everything. You get what I'm saying? Are you eating your mom? I'm eating my mom's cooking, my grandmother's cooking, my aunt's cooking, and everything is heavy flavor. You know, my salt intake was super high, so that was one of my biggest things that I actually cut out as far as myself. And I think it helped drop my actual numbers. Something that most of these guys nowadays too, Chief, they're not exercising. Nobody's exercising, man. It's out of control, whether it be our men or our women, but primarily our younger Black men. They're just not exercising.
And so we pride ourselves on bringing the clinic to the community, because what we know is that men, number one, they're not going to move their bodies. They're not exercising, like you said. Number two, they're not going to the doctor, right? And so what we're trying to really do is take the edge off of what's happening at our wellness events. And so when we have our Black Men's Wellness Days, it literally serves as a doctor's appointment. We say it's the most fun you'll ever have at a doctor's appointment. We got DJ, live music, we got vendors all over the place, kids. There's something for the entire family.
Yeah.
But what we're really doing is we're taking the edge off of men coming there to learn their numbers. Because
the biggest thing is free.
that's it.
So we take away any excuse. Like,
There you go.
Susan Coleman, you're going to pay $30.
Yeah.
We like, you ain't got to pay nothing. You just show up with your wife. We tell women, hey, if you're looking for a man, it's a good place to find one. It's trying to get healthy. So, yeah, we take away the whole excuse.
Yeah.
But outside of that, then what we found out is that black men have issues around mental health.
Yes, sir.
We suffer from a lot of depression. And what's really interesting, we've been talking to a lot of former athletes.
Yeah.
And the athletes really talk about what they go through when they no longer are playing professional sports. Or the stuff they've gone through. Like, we had a real men real talk conversation the other day, and so many black men in the room talked about the fact that their fathers were not there. And how they lacked this whole father connection. They were mad at their fathers. They were going to graveyards and asking their fathers for forgiveness and what have you. Have you had any kind of mental wellness issues going on as you were navigating your life?
Oh, you know, back in those days, speaking of, I'm pretty sure I did. You know, it was just one of those things that we didn't talk about. Like you said, growing up in the South, hey, family, you just have to deal with this. You have to figure out how to deal with it. Not saying that was the right way, but I'm sure that was some things that I probably was dealing with. A bunch of my peers were dealing with. And I think our thing is, back in those days, we just tried to figure out a different way of actually doing it. And like I'm saying, it probably wasn't the right way. I think nowadays it's a little bit more exposed now. We're a little bit more exposed to it.
Yeah.
We have more younger men and women committing suicide, you know, and that is a whole lot that's stemming from it. And I think if we can kind of get a better grip on this, we can minimize that number.
I agree.
You know, we can truly minimize that suicidal number as far as just speaking out and talking about certain things and getting these younger men and younger women help. And the beauty behind it, myself, I work down at the university, and we have invested millions of dollars into this one department, this mental health, you know, because it's huge nowadays. And I think one of the biggest pieces, most of these young men don't have nobody to talk to. And that's the first thing. The second thing is, if they do, a lot of times they don't want to talk about certain things.
Well, who'd you talk to?
Who did I talk to, or who would I talk to?
Who'd you talk to now?
Who I talk to
Because
now?
you
My
have
wife.
time, a coach, and father, kids. Now, you ain't always okay. So who you talk to now?
Correct. I think right now myself, thanks to Marco and Polo, I'm going to be super honest with you. Marco and Polo, I have a panel of about 6, 7 of my friends on each different panel on this Marco Polo app. And I think my friends and I, we're so close, for sure. These guys are like our outlet. It's an open space. And like what we're sitting here doing now is just recorded on the phone. You know, and we always make sure that we just speak loudly and tell guys, make sure you're saying something when something is bothering you. Whether we're not kids anymore. We're grown men now.
That's true.
And we want to leave that space for our friends. And I love this Marco Polo app. It gives myself, gives my friends a platform for us to actually express some things when we're going through stuff. My wife is a psychology major, and she's super heavy into this, and this is all she talk about. She's been talking about this for years. And then, you know, I'm super blessed to have a backbone such as my wife that I can lean on as well, and then also my kids.
Yeah.
So the point, to answer your question, I would say my wife, and then this Marco Polo app with all my friends.
I tell you what, one of the things that we've seen over the course of the last couple of years, by having these real talk conversations, is that men, they're okay with having these safe environments where they got brothers around them. And so when you talk about this Marco Polo app, I was listening because you didn't just say it was just 1 or 2 guys on there.
Nah.
There's several. So there's a brotherhood. There's a safe community where brothers are able to just self-disclose and share some things that they're dealing with. And what we have learned is men are starting to open up, and talk therapy is really making an impact.
Correct.
And so this year we're being intentional about the idea of, why are men wearing masks? Like, why do black men mask? Just to show up and feel, you know, as if they have some type of contribution to society, or maybe they're dealing with, to our point of this whole former athlete, the identity crisis is real.
Yes, sir.
Well, you got some brothers out here who they're dealing with some deep, deep grieving seasons that they're going through because of some goals that they tried to accomplish that didn't work out for them. So what would you say to those guys that are in that space where they find themselves just stuck and not being able to like get into something else? Because you're in coaching now, right? And so not every athlete is able to get into coaching where sometimes that's too close to the game for them.
To answer your question, I'll just say for most of these guys to peel that layer back, to actually speak, to talk. I think a lot of these younger men, in particular these younger black men, they don't have the confidence to say it. They're not confident enough to actually say what the actual problem is.
That's the
And the crazy part behind all of this, I work with 120 young men on the football team, and every guy's story is totally different. You get what I'm saying? So the approach to these young men is totally different to each and every last one of them. And I deal with each and every last player on the team. But at the end of the day, it's going to somewhat come back to the same thing, almost in the end, for the most part with a lot of these guys, and it's all confidence. A lot of these guys, their confidence is not there. They're so used to being the guy, especially in high school. They were the man growing up. Their families pushed them out there. They made them to be this, the community, their cities, their states. Now you come around a bunch of other younger men who were the top guys in their area. And now all these guys are facing each other. Here it is, whether it be some competition, whether it's on or off the football field, they're not being treated the same way. And then now you start adding all this NIL stuff. You get what I'm saying? The transfer portal. I mean, now you're adding so many different layers to these guys' play. But I think as adults, we're forgetting that these guys are still kids. They're still kids. They don't have all the answers.
And you work with the age group between 18 to 24.
Yes, sir.
Where black males, they have the highest suicide rate.
Yes.
And, I think in terms of how do we begin to reach those young black men? But the other piece is black men now, what they're finding out, black men over the age of 55 are having mental health issues, and their suicide rate is going up also. And so what I hear you say is a couple things. One is confidence, that people lose confidence, and you lose that. When you're a successful person, you always are having some ego stroke stuff going on. And so what do you do when you find yourself having some ego issues?
The best part about myself is
You don't have ego issues?
I look at this first day. That's the last thing I think. My parents and my grandparents, and I think my support system around me. I got two amazing sisters, but they're quick to tell me, hey, Deion, you're not the football guy to us. You're Deion Branch, the brother. And my mom would tell you you're the son, and my grandmother would tell you you're the grandson. It's not about you. I was always taught that, hey, it's not about you, Deion. It's about you actually. How can you affect and promote others around you? That's
so you need people in your life that's going to check you.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, I didn't need it. They did it from the door. And trust me,
you didn't have a choice.
I didn't have no choice. They didn't allow me to step out of that box. And it happens a lot, too. You think in the world, in society that we live in, these young men, like I was saying earlier, how some of these guys are used to being the man, and then now you're around 100 guys who were the guy. Now, how do you step out of that shell then? Most of these guys, as far as like you said, getting checked, you really can see it once you're around a lot of great young men and a lot of great athletes. Who's going to be the guy that's going to call the other guys out when they're wrong?
So let me ask you this.
Has
there ever been a time in your life where you said, now this ain't fair? Like you was going through something and you just really was like, now, this is kind of messed up. This ain't fair. I ain't talking about when you got the MVP trophy.
Correct.
But when you was like, you knew I've done everything right. My life is good, and then something happens. What's his name? Jaheim says stuff just falls out the sky.
I can pinpoint a lot of things. I think my upbringing, me personally, hey, I would never want to change anything about my upbringing because it made me the man who I am today. But I seen other kids around me who was getting everything that I probably wanted for, but my mom always told me, you have what you need. You have everything you need, not what you want. You follow me? That was one of the things as my upbringing. I think that sort of kept me super grounded And the other thing is, I'm not questioning by no means. I would never question God. Like I was speaking about earlier, I have twin boys. One of my twins is, he was diagnosed with viral meningitis at birth. You follow me? So I wouldn't say at birth. It was 6 weeks out of the hospital. One of my twins, DeAndre Branch, and he was given 6 months to live. And now he's 22 years old. By the grace of God, my son is still here with us.
Awesome.
And his heart is beating just like our heart is beating. But at one point in life, early on as a young man, the first time being like super affected by some realization in life, like some real adversity. I think that was the first time that I was like, man, this is not fair to this young man. Like why not me? You get what I'm saying? This kid didn't do anything, and my family's super spiritual, and my mom's, my aunties, and then just been praying, and just like the most important piece, you can never question God.
No.
There's a reason behind all of this.
Yep.
And I think that was my thing. If I could say it was anything that I would sit back and be like, man, hey, life throwing.
But you got through it.
I got through it. It's still a daily walk. It's still a daily battle.
Yep.
He's right here in the city. He's down at this amazing center called the Home of Innocence down on Market Street.
Yeah.
Yes, my son is in there alongside with many other kids and family members who are going through the same thing.
I was going to say, another family needed to see, when we say as parents, I'm the father of 2 as well, and when things happen to our kids, of course we will love to trade places with them.
Yeah.
However, we do have an opportunity to be a form of hope and belief for another family.
Correct.
So another father needed to hear,
Correct.
You and your story, and how, DeAndre has impacted your life.
Correct.
And how you're able to navigate this season of life, understanding that, God, he doesn't make any mistakes.
Correct.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Correct.
All of this. And it's truly a blessing for you and your family to be able to, walk this journey with them, because other families certainly are in need of some idea of like, okay, how do we respond in this? So, that's incredible that you were, and see what you were just doing just now as far as self-disclosure, that is literally what men are doing on a monthly basis with our Real Men Real Talk conversations. And we're just really being intentional about creating that safe space. Even right now in this conversation we're having, guards are let down, egos are out the window.
Yes, sir.
We don't allow the things that sometimes we do, the mask that we talk about, right? We unmask and we really try to be real and authentic.
Correct.
So that other brothers, including ourselves, are able to get freed from the bondage and some of the things that we're mentally dealing with. Oftentimes we're like, I didn't sign up for this. But this was placed in my life.
I think some powerful you really said is that back then it was interesting. You went through that. But you say it's still right now happening in your life.
It's a daily
But
walk.
you found a way to cope and have celebration in this moment. And I think that a lot of times what happens is people go through stuff and they just don't know how to navigate through it, and it really becomes the thing that they focus on and concentrate. And so if brothers out there listening to this, you need to hear, maybe you will still be going through it, but you will find a way to get through it.
Absolutely.
And we'll find a way to get past the initial shock, grief, anger, mad, and all things do work together for the good.
Yes, sir.
And so, we do appreciate you sharing that. Because black men need to hear that other black men are going through things. You get, I'm older, much older than you two.
Yes, sir.
And, I now understand when people say, you live long enough, you understand by and by.
Yes, sir.
When you're your age, you be like, what is they talking about? But I know that when I turned a certain age, I ain't gonna tell you how old I am.
That's right.
But when I turned that age, I looked up and called somebody and go like, you know what all the old people used to say? I'm them old people now. And it's all true.
And I think the biggest piece that others see and probably think like, hey, I'm human. You get what I'm saying? I think many see the guy that they've seen in the past on television running around catching passes and doing all this stuff and having fun, having opportunity to play in Super Bowls. But the most important piece, I'm still a father. I'm a husband. I'm human. It happened. That this how can I say, this adversity, this one piece of my chapter of my life, this piece happened. Now it's all about, okay, Deion, what are you going to do about it? You know, what's the next step for you to kind of promote awareness for others?
Well, you started a foundation.
Yes,
right?
I did. It was
Yeah,
the Deion Branch Foundation.
Yeah, share a little bit more about
That's pretty much what it was geared upon.
Okay.
You know, it was everything was about my son DeAndre Branch and partnering with Meningitis Foundation of America, and also did with badly abused women, and underprivileged kids. So my thing is, like I said, and I shared it with you guys a minute ago, it's not about me. You know, my grandparents taught my parents, in which my parents taught me. Everything's instilled, and I'm just a vessel. I'm just carrying out this mission. What my grandparents instilled in my mom and my dad, and my parents instilled in myself and my siblings.
That's powerful.
Yeah,
that's powerful. And we always, share how literally that's what our organization is a vessel, a conduit.
Yes.
Standing in the gap between the Black community and the organizations that are serious about this whole equity conversation. Because, I should say mission, because there's a lot of talk about this whole equity, health equity, right? But there's not enough organizations that are literally joining in this mission to get information, life-saving information into the Black community or life-changing products. So we have partnerships, with Johnson & Johnson, Genentech, Abbott Labs, to do things nationally to bring these types of resources to the Black community. Here in Louisville, we're excited about the things that we're able to do because we're literally saving lives every single month by providing the free health screenings and the safe environment for Black men to gather and self-disclose and have life-saving conversations. And so lastly, before we close, I just want to ask, for where you are right now, what is one piece of advice that you would want to give other Black men that are out there right now that are just trying to muscle through life and figure things out? Like, what is one piece of advice that you would give?
And the biggest piece that I always tell these young men, especially in the building, just, hey, for one, we got to continue to love one another. I think, we have to continue to love one another.
Wow.
And I think that's the most important piece that's missing, because you got all these guys with all the pride and all the egos. The ego is the issue.
It is.
That's the issue with our young man. We sitting there talking about the wellness, our health wellness, with all the crime, the Black on Black crime in today's world. Like, all for what though?
Yeah.
Like, for what? At the end of the day, we have to learn to love one another, man. We have to learn to love one another and cut out all the other nonsense, man.
That's powerful.
It's getting out of control. It's out of hand. And I to myself, I would love to be, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity that you guys allowed me to share this space with you guys to help promote this. And I would love to stand on the table for that.
Man, what we're trying to do exactly what you said, man, is to really show love amongst men and be comfortable being vulnerable in that space. JG and I, we have said it before, like, we have this connection similar to like Jonathan. Yeah, we do. Similar to like Jonathan and David. Right? And so what we're able to do is, he's a little bit further down the road than I am, right? Sure. But we're able to give each other balance.
Correct.
But we also find a space, and we have allowed each other to get to a space where we can be real with one another and bounce some things back and forth. Yeah. And that word love is a word that, he and I, we're able to grow and understand, okay, what does that really mean for men to love each other and really be there for one another?
Yeah.
And so we're trying to do everything that we can to actually make that normal.
Yes, sir.
Where men are okay with saying, hey, brother, I love you.
Right.
Black men,
there you go. Yes,
black men are able to say that because we believe that. I'm glad you said that. That literally is one of the keys to unlock us from all of this stuff that we're dealing with and from the change.
And that's what Penny Hardaway said.
He sure did.
Penny Hardaway said, at the end of the day, it's about love.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah.
Because Penny Hardaway is one of our honorary chairs out of Memphis.
Yeah. And when you think about it, Jay-Z, as we all sitting there talking about it, that little piece, because
I want everybody here. You hear that MVP say JG.
Yeah, just man. Most of these young men, as you disclosed earlier, not having father figures in the house.
Yes.
And me personally, I kissed my son. I used to kiss my son on his lips until he was about 4, and then it went to his forehead. That's enough. No more of that. But every day I speak to my son, and he's 22, the one that's up moving around. My son down at the center. When I'm there and I go visit, it's always I love you, I love you, I love you. I think that when a lot of guys probably see this and they think about it when I say this, a lot of black men don't tell their fathers, or the fathers don't tell their sons, I love you, but they think it's an unspoken thing.
Oh, absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? It's super unspoken. My thing is I make sure my son knows this. This is every day. We may talk on the phone 2 or 3 times a day. He will get I love you from me every time. And it's super reciprocated. And the thing is, it's all these values that I'm instilling in my kids. Myself, I tell my mom, my sisters, my brothers, my father, my kids, my daughters, every time we talk, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you.
That's powerful.
That is truly powerful. What's interesting, I have a 24-year-old.
Yes, sir.
And ever since he has been little, even when he left the house when he was going to school, he never did not say, I love you.
Yes, sir.
Even when we were asleep, I was like, hey, you going to school? He get ready to go today. Dad, I love you. And if I call him today, right now, he would end his conversation with, I love you. Because I try to do the same thing. But I'm going to tell you that we love the fact that you're a part of us.
Yes, sir.
And what we're going to do is, as our parent organization, the National Center for Urban Solutions, we're going to donate $1,000 toward your foundation.
Oh, man,
to let you know that we love the work that you're doing, and we hope that this is just the beginning of a long-term relationship with us.
I love it. I truly appreciate you guys. Truly appreciate that. The offering, it wasn't needed, but I truly appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
We'll take it back.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be something that we'll do fun with it with some kid or something with meningitis for sure.
Well, we want to thank you on behalf of the organization for joining us for another Real Men, Real Talk conversation on our podcast. We are excited about the work that we're doing here in Louisville, but more importantly, we are getting excited about the Black Men's Wellness Day.
Oh, yeah.
That is coming here very soon. So follow us at aawellness.org for more information, and we will see you all next time.
And they can join our Facebook page?
Absolutely. We have a Facebook page, Real Men, Real Talk. It's a private group for Black men to join us to have private conversations nationally as we are impacting thousands of men on a monthly basis in this space of Real Men, Real Talk.